He comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. Don't want that thing leaving your hands until you decide it's time. At least it won't get cold around here with that thing around. Stick 'em and cook 'em, or the other way around. Makes no difference. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. Can't rightly call Mount Zan a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. So they figure they'll hold out right here on a slab of mountain the god. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved us. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. But they ain't yet prepared for any company. They even dragged their children into this. Without a doubt, the situation stinks. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. There's only one kind of mercy left these days. It's a delicate situation. What the city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. Look at it this way. It's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts have been hard at work fixing up the place. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. You don't need to keep tangling with all those things. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. Kid's lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting. Ain't never letting go of his old friend with a sturdy grip like that. That mortar's gonna leave a lasting impression. That's the way to make every shot count. Points just don't get any sharper than that. Now he can shoot that fang repeater all day long. With a good length of meat-gut, that bow's like new again. Takes a lot of moving pieces to make a dependable sidearm. You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel. A sip of lunkhead liqueur'll toughen you up. Too bad it's like drinking a saddlebag. Fixed that thing right up, didn't we? Made these goings-on a little livelier. Suppose it's true a little song can put things in perspective. The brushers, they moved in shadows, but the calamity found them. The conscience, we haven't lost everything, long as we have that. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? Imagine everything you'd need to build a city like Caelondia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes burstone quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. We bought the whole place from the Ura on the cheap. Same goes for its natives, Rattletails. Why would the Ura put up with those pests? Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nesting in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. They're recording everything, all the time, taking it all in. No wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The rocks were calling them. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Without those windbags, the quarry might not have its special qualities. Even stink eyes started taking root in here. Windbags tended to the rocks, so we had to keep the rattletails at bay. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Might be the gods told them the quarry's bad news. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Hard times in the quarry these days. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen. The largest ones, you know as cores. Single core could keep the lights on in an entire city district. The smaller ones, we call them shards. The shards got a fraction of the core's power, enough to fuel a voyage to the motherland. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to Colin, Sir Lunky. Massive things stomped many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. The only thing harder than the rocks burst in the quarry is Sir Lunky's head. Get stubborn old Lunky to leave the quarry alone. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. It's him. "I've come to warn you," he says. The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back. Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you. Because my countrymen will." The next part's hard to talk about, no matter how many times I try. Say what you will about Zulf, but he's a man of his word. His countrymen don't much care for pleasantries, though. Too bad for that. Zulf showed him the way here. And here they came to take revenge. They got inside the Bastion and shut the door. Kid's gotta go in through the back. Should have seen this coming. Felt it in my bones. Unfortunately, they broke in, and they started digging their holes. Something wrong sprung out of those holes, and it's eating away in this place. We tried to stop them, but we needed help. Some way, he sends those Ura packing. Problem is, it didn't matter. Zolf's plan worked. We find each other as the dust settles. Then I tell him why the Ura came. To get us back. For the Calamity. It was Caelondia's master plan to wipe the Ura out. But part of that plan backfired, didn't it? If only Zolf knew the whole story, what were we to think? They must have got her, taken her back to her rightful home. The shards can put this disease in remission, but there's only one cure. We need to finish what we started. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. Now all we need is one last shard. The culture. A still life of old unwanted keepsakes. The mercy. The windbags ain't the only beast that drew a bad lot. The cinders kept the city good and warm, made it thrive. The sanctuary. If we can build, we can rebuild. His bow's looking lean and mean like a prize fighter. To master the musket, you gotta get rid of the recoil. That ought to give those dueling pistols a little extra kick. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. Taught him an old trick from a galleon gunner I once knew. Even the army never issued carbines in such fine shape. On the inside, a fire bellows ain't nothing like its more popular air-spitting cousin. The city, its riches nothing but fragments now. The inspiration, a forge can fashion anything. The Ura swooped down from the east. At least now we know the way. One last shard. It's all we need to put this mess behind us. And mother, what a mess it is. A mess like that could have only been made by hand. Zolf said the Calamity failed, and he's right. The Ura stand as living proof of that. At the heart of the Calamity was a simple idea. We never wanted to go to war again. Wanted to rule it out. We put a lot of folks against that problem. Scientists, soldiers, spies, even me. We sought solutions far beyond the city. Travel near as far as the kid's going right now. most of our efforts didn't bear fruit. Then there was a breakthrough, but it didn't come from one of our people. It came from an Ura, a brilliant young scientist named Ven. Ven worked for the Mancers, the sharpest knives in the city's drawer. With his help, the Mancers devised a way to seal the Ura tunnels shut in a flash. Just like that, every last Ura living in the Tassel terminals will be gone. This discovery was never to be used, they said, except as a last resort. But Ven didn't like being manipulated. He had plans of his own. He sabotaged the Mancer's little science project, set it to blow up in their faces. Imagine how Ven must have felt when they finally made him pull that trigger. But remember, the Bastion can fix everything. We just need that shard. Too bad the Ura ain't exactly been willing to collaborate on that front. It's strange. Feels like I told this part 1,000 times. He gets straight down to business. They never saw him coming. He gets his hands on the care package I sent him. The Ura found a way to keep the calamity from spreading through Sultan's Hollow. They got their own security and everything. Pretty fancy, even. Still, they ain't used to having visitors around. They've got these conductors that are all what's keeping the place together. Break enough of those things and the calamity rocks slink back into the ground. Those rocks are like tumors, the same kind the Ura planted on the Bastion. Well, the Ura must be in a panic right about now. Kid's done using the calamity's power for now, but the Ura ain't finished. They even sick their little rattletail pets on the kid. Those rodents are just a bump in the road. It's not the time to get reckless. Kid's picking the whole place apart, piece by piece. By now, every Ura from here to the terminals must know he's in town. Most of the Ura's conductors are squared away in the middle of the hollow. They're easy targets. Those calamity rocks must be eating that place apart from the inside. The Ura keep hanging on to that barricade. After all, their homeland's not much farther. Maybe they know they've lost this. Lost to a kid. Some of them are downright bewildered by what's happening. They underestimated us. Had us pegged all wrong. Yes, our people caused the calamity, but here we are trying to fix it. Did the Ura really think we just turn around and walk away? Suppose old Zolf should have got to know us better. Maybe I should have trusted him. Told him everything I knew. Zolf, the Ura, they have every reason to be angry. Beyond angry. As the hour grows desperate, the Ura bring out their big guns. There's nothing standing in his way no more. All those dreams snuffed out in the calamity will bring back. But when this is all over, it'll all be water under the bridge. Way out there on the edge of the world, that's where he finally finds you. But it ain't like Prosper Bluff this time. Ain't nothing for this gal to sing about now. Zia, you weren't kidnapped. No, ma'am. You just had to see what happened to the Ura. To your own people. You had to see if everything Zolf wrote to you was true. I don't need to see what happened to the Ura. I'm trying to undo it, remember? Wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of those. Without an insulated air intake, that thing's liable to blow up on you. First step to learning the Calamity Cannon is knowing about the machinery overrides. Good thing I didn't throw away the manual. Black rye's like hot pineapple chowder on a cold day. Brings back memories. Sure you didn't drop that twangy thing on purpose? Just to see if he'd go after you? They lost everything, didn't they? But they just keep on fighting like that's gonna bring it all back. The country. She's all to pieces now, but still looking good. Once the kid gets that last shard from Zulf, it'll all be over. Part of the rippling walls floated by, so I caught the kid's old knapsack. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Ceylondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Caelondia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. Well, he finally arrived at Caelondia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else. But then, all he got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me. I'd like to say I'll never forget him, or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would.